Hello, once again, welcome to the security update, which we often look at issues concerning security in the continent from west to east, and these are the stories making the headline. Somaliland's Wadani Party says what's going on in Lasanot is a civil war, blaming President Bihe for the chaos. Somalia asks UK to support them of lifting the arms embargo. Rwanda says a Congolese soldier was killed after crossing border and opening fire. US extended sanctions against Zimbabwe. Welcome to the program. Somaliland's Wadani Party leader, who spoke about the clashes in Lasanot city, said that the situation in the city is because of the current government's poor leadership and alleged the government of destroying the political image of Somaliland and the international field.
The chairman of Somaliland's Wadani Party, Daabjeerin Mohammed Abdullahi Irro, who held a press conference at his home in Hargeisa on Saturday, talked about the Lasanot unrest and described it as a civil war, putting all the blame on the current government. He suggested the government to listen carefully to wishes of the Lasanot people and resolve the difference peacefully through dialogue, while recounting that the Somaliland people have had enough experience of armed conflict. The presidential candidate strongly believes the only way the conflict could stop is for all sides to adhere to the ceasefire, exercise restraint and engage in constructive dialogue to establish a pathway towards a peaceful resolution, adding that he is ready in any way to participate in finding a peaceful solution. Irra called upon the traditional elders, the people and the intellectuals of Seoul region to endorse any peaceful efforts to reach a bilateral ceasefire. Meanwhile, he alleged the government of destroying the political image of Somaliland and in the international view of the country, saying it is the result of the clashes going on in Lasanot, stating that Somaliland was famous for its peace, democracy and stability. Furthermore, the presidential candidate supported the Somaliland National Army in their response to the attack that Somalia's Puntland state waged on Somaliland military bases in Lasanot.
Somalia and the UK have discussed the importance of security, removing Al-Shabaab out of the country in particular, and the UK to assist Somalia in lifting the arms embargo against this Horn of Africa state for the last decade.
The Minister of Defense of Somalia, Abdulqadir Mohammed Nur Chama, has sat with the Deputy Ambassador of United Kingdom to Somalia at Barnet in Mogadishu, which all sides see as a great significance to eliminate extremism ideology across the country. They discuss how to enhance the current support provided to the Somali National Army in the fight against terrorism and the importance of enhancing their capacity and capabilities to combat Al-Shabaab. They also discussed the importance of lifting the arms embargo and its importance as Somalia intensifies the operation to eradicate Al-Shabaab. The minister thanked the UK government for their continuous support in these crucial areas and their commitment to provide more support to the ongoing efforts to liberate Somalia.
Rwandan soldiers have reportedly shot dead a Congolese soldier who on Friday crossed the border and shot at the security forces, triggering a brief exchange of fire between the two sides. According to Rwanda's defense ministry, the incident took place on Friday evening when the Congolese soldier crossed into western Rwanda from the Grenade Paria border post outside the city of Goma and shot the Rwandan Defense Force soldiers.
According to Rwanda's defense ministry, the incident took place on Friday evening when the Congolese soldier crossed into western Rwanda from the Grand Barrier border post outside the city of Goma and shot at Rwanda Defense Force soldiers. Colonel Guilaume Njike, a spokesperson for Congo's army in North Kivu province, said he could not yet comment on the incident but would do so on Saturday. This is not the first time that such an incident has happened. In November last year, a man wearing a Congolese military uniform was killed by Rwandan troops after he crossed the border and began shooting at Rwandan guard towers. Tensions have been mounting between the DRC and Rwanda over the conflict in Congo's east. The DRC has accused Rwanda of supporting the M23 rebel group, which has captured swaths of territory in eastern Congo, causing thousands of people to flee.
A policeman in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, shot dead 2 women on Sunday before turning the gun on himself. Investigations are currently underway, although it is not yet clear what motivated the killings.
Corporal Mark Mulanda killed his colleague's wife and girlfriend in the shocking incident that happened on Sunday, shortly before 8 p.m. According to a police report filed at the Langata police station, the officer, who was on night patrol with his 2 colleagues in Southlands area of Nairobi, excused himself to pick something from his house about 500 meters away. Later on, gunshots were heard at the scene. He reportedly shot twice at Fiona Chepkoech, aged 37 years, and wife to Officer Enoch Tirop outside the house, then locked himself inside his house, where he shot his girlfriend, Rhoda Machuma Chepchumba, aged 28 years, 7 times before turning the gun on himself. The deceased phone was recovered at the scene, as well as his AK-47 loaded with 20 rounds of ammunition. It is not yet clear what motivated the killings, but police have in the past attributed such incidents to work-related stress that leads to mental health issues.
Somalia Defense Minister Abdikadir Mohammed has held talks with General Getachew Faisa, head of East African Standby Force in Mogadishu. But we will be back after the short break.
Making documentaries is one of the most creative craft and challenging endeavors you can be involved in. It is an effective strategy to inform, persuade, educate, defend the perspective, and shed light on various issues, policies, and activities. At CBA TV, documentary production is our forte. We capture every TikTok detail of events in highest resolution to tell the story you care about, from politics to human hunger, research-based content, educative and informative. We also help you project your story in a dynamic perspective that attracts the world views of the target audience, as there is no better or more powerful way to place the organization's values and achievements than to make an excellent documentary film. No doubt, our strength lies in these ventures, and we pride in many award-winning documentaries which have been earning accolades across Africa and beyond. Let's tell your story.
Welcome back again. Somalia Defense Minister Abdikadir Mohammed has held talks with General Getachew Faisa, head of East African Standby Force in Mogadishu. In a statement, the ministry said the 2 officials discussed the importance of East African Standby Force, the overall peace, and the need to fulfill the force's mission and vision towards regional security.
The Minister of Defense of the Federal Government of Somalia, Abdulqadir Mohammed Noor, together with the Somali National Army Commander, General Odawa Yusuf Rage, held a meeting at the ministry's headquarters of a delegation from the East African Community Standby Forces who arrived in Mogadishu. The ministry emphasized the benefit that membership in the East African community would bring to the Somali people in accordance with peace and security of the country, and showed readiness to collaborate with the economic and social cooperation in the East African region. The Director of East African Standby Forces, Brigadier General Getachew Sharifo Faisa, who talked to the media after the meeting, talked about the purpose of their visit, stating,
"So the objective of our visit here in Somalia is to see areas that can ESF contribute to our one of our member states to Somalia, peace and security, and to also draw some lesson from the mission on the ground from the ATMIS. So the object of our visit is, as you know, ESF is one of the big organizations, and Somalia is also one of our member states. So we come here to support the peace process to one of our member states.
The East African Community is a regional intergovernmental organization of 7 partner states, comprising Burundi, Republic of Congo, Kenya, Rwanda, South Sudan, Tanzania, and Uganda, with the addition of Somalia, who joined this year. The organization would become an even more powerful force for promoting economic and social cooperation in the East African region. January this year, East African Community opened its first conference in Mogadishu, Somalia, marking a significant step towards the country's potential membership in the East African Community.
Commissioner of Police Hilary Saokanu has formally assumed office as the ATMIS Police Commissioner from Sierra Leone, arriving in Mogadishu on Thursday to commence her duties.
Commissioner of Police Hilary Saokanu has formally assumed office as the Police Commissioner for the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia, ATMIS. CB Kanu from Sierra Leone arrived in Mogadishu on Thursday to commence her duties, replacing Assistant Inspector General of Police Augustine Magnus, also from Sierra Leone, who concluded his tour of duty October last year. CB Kanu was officially received at the ATMIS Police Headquarters in Mogadishu, where she inspected a guard of honor mounted by ATMIS Police personnel. The new CB in an interview stated that her priorities are to build on what has already been achieved and to sustain the momentum to ensure the achievement of the goal of ensuring security and stability in Somalia. CB Kanu also emphasized that the ATMIS Police component will collaborate with their counterparts, the Somali police forces, to achieve the mission's objectives and build capacity through training, mentoring, and advising. CB Kanu brings to the mission a wealth of knowledge and experience spanning over 30 years in the police service. Prior to her appointment as the ATMIS Police Commissioner, she was the Director of Support Service at Sierra Leone Police Headquarters. She previously served at UNAMID, the African Union United Nations hybrid operation in Darfur, Sudan.
U.S. trained Danab Special Forces and Jubaland Darawish Forces carried out an anti-Al-Shabaab operation in the lower Juba region, killing at least 13 Al-Shabaab members, including a senior leader. U.S. trained Danab Special Forces and Jubaland Darawish Forces carried out an anti-Al-Shabaab operation in the lower Juba region, killing at least 13 Al-Shabaab members, including a senior leader. The operation was conducted in Tudor village and the areas along the river Punk. According to the 16th Battalion of Danab Special Forces, they added that the senior leader killed in the operation was Aruriyo Muhammad Umar, who used the alias Ahmad Salah in the group. President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, who is currently in Kismayo, praised the latest government forces operation, particularly this one, but did not specify how many militants were killed. Since President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud declared an all-out war against the group last year, the government forces have intensified their attacks against Al-Shabaab. U.S. President Joe Biden has renewed the 2-decade-old sanctions against Zimbabwe, saying that ongoing repression by the country's government presents a continuing threat to peace and security in the region.
President Biden's move to extend the sanctions comes a few days after the European Union also extended by another year its arms embargo against Zimbabwe. Biden said Zimbabwe had not made any reforms to warrant the lifting of the sanctions that were first imposed in the year 2003 for alleged human rights violations and electoral fraud. He added that the Zimbabwean government security services throughout the year routinely intimidated and violently repressed citizens, including members of opposition political parties, union members, and journalists. Other countries that have imposed sanctions against Zimbabwe include Australia, Canada, and New Zealand, as well as members of the European Union. International lenders such as the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund also stopped giving loans to the country because of its failure to repay.
And with that, the story of the U.S. President Joe Biden renewed the 2-decade-old sanctions against Zimbabwe, saying that ongoing repression by the country's government presents a continuing threat to peace and security in the region. We wrap up our program for this time. Thank you very much for being with us. This is me, Hamse Daabjeerin.